This video is brought to you by my website, airparts.com, high quality, genuine parts. In this video, my friend Pat is going to be replacing all 6 spark plugs in his 2009 Chevrolet Trailblazer with the 4.2 liter inline 6-cylinder. I'll just be holding the flashlight and explaining what we're doing. Now, if all of the spark plugs were as easily accessible as 1 through 4, which are right on top, as soon as you remove the air box, they're readily accessible. I wouldn't be making this guide if it weren't for the 5th and the 6th one, which are underneath the wiper cowl. But I'll go over some quick information that you need for this job, such as the spark plug torque, which is 13 foot-pounds, or translated to 156 inch-pounds if you have an inch-pound torque wrench. You need a 5/8 spark plug socket to remove the spark plug. Make sure it has a little rubber grommet inside of it, and the spark plug gap is 0.043. The ignition coils are held on with a 10mm bolt, which you can remove, and of course you can simply unplug the ignition coil and remove it. In fact, you don't even really need to unplug the ignition coils, so we didn't even do that here. You can just lift them up and set them aside. And lastly, I know these comments always come up in the comment section. Should I use anti-seize on my spark plugs? I don't use them. The spark plug manufacturers don't recommend using them. But if it gives you peace of mind, fine. I don't think it hurts too much, except I would not slather them with anti-seize. Just put a little bit on them if you want to do that. But I personally don't do it. You don't really need to do it anymore. Now, your eyes are not playing tricks on you. This footage is reversed. Pat took everything apart before I even got there, and I put it back together with my camera. So I reversed it. Yes, it looks like there's no gravity, but I wanted to show you what it takes to remove this air box, which is really not much at all. As soon as we get it out of the way, we can view all of the ignition coils. And here we have our helper, Luna, to help us with the tools. There's that 10mm that holds the ignition coil down. When you remove it, you'll notice that there's a little plastic sleeve in it right here. That plastic sleeve is right here in the ignition coil. It's really just a guiding sleeve. If it gets lost, I wouldn't worry too much, but I would try not to lose them. We're not even unplugging the ignition coils to do this. We're just taking them out and setting them aside. If you're replacing them, obviously, yes, you're going to unplug them. But we're not replacing the ignition coils. There's nothing wrong with them. Now, I want to give you a look at number 5 and 6. These are the back ones that are all the way underneath the wiper cowl that are going to be a little bit harder to get. Now, they're not hard to get, just a little bit harder. In this freeze frame, you see all 6 of them is cylinder number 1 through 6. These 4 are the easiest to get, and the back 2 we'll be going over very shortly. So I know most people are here for number 5 and 6, so I put a link in the description and on the screen so you can skip to where you need to go. But I do know there's a lot of people here that are not experts and they just want some general advice, so I'm going to be going over some of the general advice really quickly. Now, removing the spark plug is pretty straightforward here. You will have to put some strength into it. Here's a chart on how to determine the health of your engine from what your spark plug looks like. So you can just go over that really quickly. And I'm going to be putting the spark plug back in with my spark plug socket. Notice that the spark plug socket is holding the spark plug. You don't want to drop the spark plug in there because you can risk cracking and damaging your new spark plug. Now notice I'm spinning it in by hand. This is absolutely necessary. You don't want to start spinning it in with a ratchet, and definitely not an impact. Spin it in until it stops. Once it stops, you can start spinning it with your ratchet or torque wrench, and it will spin a little bit more before it bottoms out, and that's when you will torque it down. These will be getting torqued to 13 foot-pounds. Now 1 through 4 is done and we're working on number 5 and 6. You can simply remove number 5 and 6 ignition coils and set them aside just like 1 through 4.
Okay, easy. Those are all came out like nothing. These pop out real easy.
Now once you've got those coils out of the way, let's take a look at the working room here. It's not too bad. Number 5 is obviously going to be easier to remove than number 6. Now number 5 might seem intimidating, but it's not very different than 1 through 4. You can get your spark plug socket and your extensions over it, no problem. You just have to maneuver it a little bit, and I'll show you exactly what we did in just a second.
Work because they're down there pretty good. If not,
see how deep this goes.
Maybe just by hand.
Yeah, so that'll work for those two.
We need a little bit shorter for the...
Well, I have 2 of these.
Oh, it's a little bit shorter actually.
A little bit, I think.
A little bit. And as you can see, this is how we maneuvered it onto number 5. You just have to maneuver it just a little bit and turn it to the side. get it right over, and you're right on top of the number 5 spark plug, and you can start to work on getting that loose. And the main thing that makes removing number 5 and 6 challenging is the way you have to position your body on top of the engine bay to get those out.
Not bad. That last one though, like I'm saying, is I'm just gonna go through it. If I can't get it, I'm gonna pass you on. I think the way finger tight is going all the way as we can, and then wrench the rest is pretty good. Just hope it doesn't happen on the back.
Now this is very typical when you're doing spark plugs. Sometimes the extensions come out without the socket, and you have to really kind of wiggle it to be able to get it out. Teflon tape is a great way to get this off, by the way.
That's what we want. Run forever. Okay, this is soon. Okay, here's what we're gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to take half, lower it in there.
Now pay attention closely here. This is how we were able to get number 6 out. This is how we got the extensions over the spark plug. We got one extension and the spark plug socket in, and we put the second extension on the ratchet. As you can see here, it's a little bit difficult to see, but the second half of the extension is on the ratchet, and we put that ratchet in. When you remove it, you can actually remove the extensions to kind of make it a little easier for you to get into that tight space.
So I need to go this way, towards me. I got this wire right here too, bro.
What we're doing here is just trying to position the ratchet properly so it doesn't catch any of the wires that are close to it and tear the wires up.
Back out over this wire. There, gives me a little more room to try to break it. Tight. Got her. Woo!
And of course, if you were able to get it, that was the hardest part of this entire job. Just go ahead and finish it up, put it back together, and we're going to go ahead and fire it up. I forgot to add the most important step, and that is make sure to take it for a test drive. If this video helped you out, make sure to hit like on the video. If you want to see more content like this, make sure to subscribe. And don't forget, if you're looking for high quality, genuine parts, make sure to check out Aeroparts.com.